Okay, this week's Parsha is a double Parsha, three Parsha, include the special reading for the 4 weeks before and after Purim, in advance of Pesach, as Parashas Vayakhel this week, and it's also Parashas Vayakhel and Parashas Pekudai, which basically deals with, starts off talking about Shabbos, and then goes into the accounting of all the things given for the sake of building the Mishkan, the construction of the Mishkan, and just to get an appreciation of what the Mishkan meant to the world and the forerunner for the Beis Hamikdash, for the temple. Take a little bit of a journey here that begins actually in Parashas Bereshit, spans a few parashiyot, a few of the Sforim of the Chamishi Chumshei Torah, and actually begins in the towards the end of Parashas Vayakhel, when Yaakov Avinu is about to bless his sons, and before he departs this world. And the pasuk says, V'yikra Yaakov el banav, v'yomer asfu agida lechem eis asher yikra eschem achros yomim. So Yaakov, sensing he's going to die, wants to reveal this extremely crucial information, where he gathers together all his sons and says, let me tell you what's going to happen at the end of days. Achros yomim, kates yomim, the end of history. Let me tell you how things are going to unfold, what the events are going to be, to prepare yourself. Maybe you can even bring it up on your own lifetime. If you understand what's happened, the dynamics of Jewish history and of world history. And of course, anybody seeing this for the first time, their eyes will bulge out and pop open because, this is the most important information of all time, of all history in this world. Because whatever's going to happen is all going to come down to this in the end, right? So even today, the situation with Iran, will the Jewish people go and bomb? Will the world how to respond? The war of Gog and Magog. It's all tied to this one specific event. If you know how things are going to unfold, you can recognize the events and understand them for what they are. And we're all waiting in tremendous anticipation of what's going to happen over here, right? Except for one problem, is that Yaakov never says anything, or at least that we can see that maybe he's alluding to it. But if he's alluding to it, why not talk about it? If you're not going to tell us what it is, don't tease us. Don't put the information right there. Instead, it says, "Hikavsu v'shimu b'nei Yaakov v'shimu el Yisrael vichem," where they all gather together to listen to their father Yaakov Yisrael, and then the bruchas begin of Reuven, Shimon, Levi, everybody, and Yaakov goes through them one by one. We're all going, okay, fine, but where? Where is the information about Achros Yamim? You began with that. Why not finish with that in the end? Never shows up. We don't know what happens in the end. He wants to, so Rashi explains, right, based upon the Gemara, that he says, actually go right to the Gemara itself. The Gemara speaks about directly. This is Psachim on Nun Vav on Aleph. The Gemara says over here about the Shema. It says, so why do we say it? Kedarish v'Shimon ben Lakish v'Shlakish. It's Marish Lakish. V'yikra Yaakov el banav v'yomar hasfu v'agid lechem. Right. So I'm going to tell you what's going to happen at the end of days. Bikesh Yaakov leglot lebanav katziyim. And Yaakov wanted to tell over to his sons what's going to happen at the end of days. Nistalk memenu shchina, but the shchina left him because prophecy is based upon the Shekhinah residing upon a person, and the Shekhinah left him at that point in time, and therefore he lost the prophecy. So he didn't give it over, obviously, otherwise we probably know today. The Gemara discusses all kinds of possibilities, but there's nothing of any certainty mentioned, at least for the public to see and to learn from. And here it says, because the Shekhinah left Yaakov Avinu, so therefore Amar, he said, he got very concerned, very worried. Why would the Shekhinah pitam all of a sudden leave me, suddenly go away from me and I lose the prophecy? Shemachas v'shalom yesh b'mitasi psul ka'Avraham she'yatza mimenu Yishmael v'avi Yitzchak she'yatza mimenu Esav. He says, up until now I thought that maybe everything was all rectified and fixed up. You've all done tshuva for the selling of Yosef and for destroying of Shechem and all that, and not consulting me. Then maybe it's all been rectified and fixed up. But on the other hand, I lost the prophecy. Maybe what happened to my grandfather, Abraham, he gave birth to a Yishmael, which was a problem, right? So therefore that limited him to some degree. And then Yitzchak, my father, gave birth to an Esav. The Gemara says in Shabbos it takes 3 generations to get rid of the Zuham and get rid of the certain tumah. right? And I was the third generation, but maybe it didn't work, maybe it didn't stick, maybe that instead what happened was that the tomb is still here, and therefore one of you or two of you or more than two of you are not quite up to snuff, spiritually speaking, and therefore the Shekhinah has left me, so I can't give over the prophecy. We can assume that I've done my rectification, right? So Amru lo banav, his son said back to him, Shema Yisrael, Hashem Elokeinu Hashem Echad. Right? They answered back and say, Chas v'shalom, no way, no how. We are rectified. Right? And we say the Shema to tell you, Amru, right? They said, Kashem she'ein bilucha ele achad. Just like in your heart, there was only one, meaning Kadosh Baruch Hu, right? Kach ein b'libenu ele echad. Right? So likewise, also in my heart, in our hearts, there's only one. God is one in our hearts. Amalek, as we said before, comes to be mafreed between Yud-Kei and Vav-Kei to divide the name of God in the minds of the Jewish people specifically, that we don't believe in Hashgacha Pratis, or we don't believe in Hashgacha Pratis, divine providence, to the degree that we're supposed to as the Jewish people, as reflected in our bitachon and our emunah, our trust and faith in God. That's the measurement, the measuring sticks that we unify God in our minds. We say before we do mitzvahs, specifically the Sidurim, it says before putting on talis and tefillin, l'shem yichu kushabrichu shchintei, b'chil orchimel yechei shem yudkei, vavkei yechuda shlim b'shem ko Yisrael. Right, I hereby do this mitzvah to unify Hashem, right, Kodesh Baruch Hu, and a Shechina, and Yudkei and Vavkei, that should be one in completion in the name of the entire Jewish people, because that's what we're doing here. That's the Iker war against Amalek. That's how we rectify ourselves, and that's how we rectify the world. Right? So therefore, they're saying, we've done the job. We've rectified, we've fixed up. So the Gemara says, B'Yosha Pasek Yaakov, right? So Yaakov himself at that point said, right, Yaakovinu, Yamah Baruch Shem Kavod Machuso Le'olam Ve'ed. And the Gemara wants to know why we put these two psukim together. So this is one of the Makaris for why these two psukim go together. So from this it seems that Yaakov is answered, and he says, Baruch Shem Kavod Machuso Le'olam, like we do in the Parashat every morning. We lay Kriya Shema and davening. We put these two psukim together. They always go together. And Zeu, right? That's the end of the Gemara. The Gemara seems to say, the Gemara, it starts off by asking that maybe there was a problem. Yaakov's statement of Baruch Shem Kavod Machuso, it seems to indicate that everything is beseder, and the prophecy must have left Yaakov Avinu for a different reason. That's what it says over in the Gemara, and that's kind of the way it's left. So we went from the Chumash, we had the question, we went to the Gemara, the level of Drush, a little bit deeper to understand what the interaction was, what happened, what went wrong in the Psukim themselves, or the story of Yaakov and his sons. But the Gemara is also not complete. The Gemara also leaves off not telling us the full story, at least it would seem that way, or at least it would seem to us that it's the complete story, but we don't understand exactly why the Shechina left Yaakov Avinu. So for that we go another step further, and that is the level of Sod, right? We could go down to the Zohar. The Zohar says the following thing. It says that Yaakov boy is laskana lasata barazi yichuda. Right, this is the parish we took Midvash, which is a great parish in the Zohar itself, very clear. He says the following thing: Yaakov rat lataken lamata b'malchus b'sod yichud hatachton. Right, Yaakov Avinu wanted to rectify the world below. Right, the malchus, the sphere that corresponds to our world, or at least that has to be rectified to bring about Mashiach and the final redemption, right? So he says the following thing. He says, "Vaskin b'chodelet asfa." So therefore, he established, he brought about the 24 letters. Viskin es a yichud b'chodelet osiyos. He brought about the yichud of the 24 letters, right? Which is the 24 letters of Baruch Shem Kavod Machusal Le'olam Ve'ed. That was the goal over here. V'inun ve'heim Baruch Shem Kavod Machusal Le'olam Ve'ed. That's what they are. But he didn't make it 25 letters as the Shema. As the Shema itself, as Shema Yisrael Echad has 25 letters, and he wanted to make Baruch Shem Kavod Machuso Le'olam also 25 letters as well.